All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're not just looking at buildings where you go to catch a flight, we're dissecting the anatomy of scale. Welcome to this explainer. We're going to count down the 10 busiest airports in the United States, and we're looking at exactly how these relentless, staggering machines of human movement actually work. How do they process millions of people and millions of tons of cargo every single year? To really set the stage here, I want you to think about this number: 108,100,000 passengers. Now, that is not the population of a massive country. That is the jaw-dropping number of passengers handled in just 1 year by the ultimate airport on our list. Keep that figure in the back of your mind as we build toward the number one spot, because honestly, understanding how any single facility can safely and efficiently handle that much traffic is just an absolute marvel of modern engineering. So let's start our countdown. Chapter 1, 10 to 8, Destination Demand. Kicking things off at number 10, with 55.9 million passengers, is Miami International. Now, its unique profile stands out right out of the gate. Nearly half of all its passengers are traveling on international flights. Miami doesn't just rely on domestic connections, you see. It's a massive global logistics powerhouse. It moves close to 3 million tons of freight every year. We're talking pharmaceuticals, perishables, you name it. And it acts as the absolute primary U.S. gateway to Latin America and the Caribbean. And it uses 4 active runways to manage all those heavy, long-haul, wide-body aircraft. Now, before we hit number 9, Orlando International, we need to talk about origin and destination, or O&D demand. Basically, an O&D airport is one where the vast majority of travelers are either starting or ending their trips there, rather than just connecting to another flight. Orlando processes 57.2 million passengers, and almost all of them are starting or ending their vacations. The terminal system is literally built to handle extreme passenger surges during peak holiday periods. Its sheer volume just proves that vacation demand alone can absolutely catapult an airport into the top 10. That brings us to number 8, Harry Reid International out in Las Vegas, handling 58.5 million passengers. Listen, this operation is aggressively fast-paced. Driven by these intense weekend visitor waves, Vegas achieves incredible throughput with super rapid aircraft turnarounds on closely spaced parallel runways. Plus, it's arguably the only major airport where the vacation begins the literal second you step off the plane. You're greeted by the sounds of hundreds of slot machines before you've even made it to baggage claim. And that setup brilliantly illustrates a major dividing line in aviation strategy. On one hand, you have Vegas, a massive point-to-point leisure destination, but right next to it in the rankings, you have an airport operating with a completely opposite philosophy.
Which brings us to Chapter 2, 7 to 5, the global gateways.
Here we shift our focus to the highly synchronized hubs that connect America to itself and to the rest of the world. Starting at number 7, we've got Charlotte Douglas International, handling 58.8 million passengers. So Charlotte rivals much larger cities using a trick called airline banking. It's basically a choreographed dance. Dozens of aircraft arrive in this tightly synchronized wave. Passengers rapidly transfer between flights without ever leaving the terminal. And then, boom, a synchronized outbound wave departs. It's a super intense, connection-heavy fortress hub. But funnily enough, amidst all this logistical frenzy, Charlotte is famous for offering a moment of calm. They've got these white wooden rocking chairs right in the atrium overlooking the airfield. Pretty cool contrast, right? Moving up to number 6, we hit the premier international gateway of the United States, John F. Kennedy International, handling 63.3 million passengers. JFK is this chaotic, colorful mosaic of a place. It hosts over 70 different airlines from every single corner of the globe. Utilizing 4 runways, this sprawling industrial city on Jamaica Bay is built purely for prestige. It serves as a primary East Coast hub for those massive Airbus A380s. And for millions of people arriving in the U.S., the final approach offers that sweeping, definitive view of the Manhattan skyline.
All right, breaking into the top 5, it's Los Angeles International, or LAX, with 76.6 million passengers. LAX is the ultimate hybrid. It combines the domestic dominance of an origin and destination airport with being the absolute primary gateway to Asia and Oceania. In fact, it's the world's busiest O&D airport. The vast majority of its passengers are either starting or ending their journeys right there in sunny Southern California.
You know the look of LAX? Visually, it's a total icon of the jet age. It's famous for that retro-futuristic theme building and the horseshoe roadway that's just in constant motion. But operationally, it is an absolute powerhouse. It uses 4 parallel runways to handle simultaneous arrivals directly over the Pacific Ocean, docking everything from tiny regional hoppers to giant A380s at the Tom Broadley terminal. Honestly, this high-energy facility perfectly mirrors the sprawling, super diverse metropolis of Los Angeles itself. Chapter 3, 4 to 3, the massive marvels.
7. Active runways. That is a staggering amount of pavement, and it belongs to number 4, Chicago O'Hare International, which processed 80 million passengers. Having one of the highest runway counts of any commercial airport on Earth isn't just a flex, it's an absolute necessity here. It allows air traffic controllers to manage incredibly complex, simultaneous approaches to conquer Chicago's notoriously harsh winters. Basically, O'Hare isn't just a local airport. It acts as a critical valve for the entire country. Functioning as a dual hub for both United and American Airlines, it turns this vast web of regional Midwestern routes into global access. O'Hare is a relentless 24-hour industrial operation. It's the true blue-collar workhorse, powering the American economy day and night. Okay, number 3. And here, we're trading heavy pavement for just sheer land mass. 53 square miles. Guys, that is roughly twice the size of the entire island of Manhattan. This makes Denver International, handling 82.4 million passengers, the largest commercial airport in North America by land area. So why the massive footprint? Well, space is power, right? Denver's remote location allowed designers to build this widely spaced pinwheel runway layout. And that's genius, because it enables simultaneous operations in varying wind conditions, heavily reducing weather delays. If you've ever flown through Denver, you've definitely ridden that automated underground train system that links its isolated island concourses. Visually iconic with its peaked fabric roof, inspired by the Rockies, Denver has seen massive post-pandemic growth as a huge east-west connection point. And with all that land, its capacity for future expansion is practically limitless.
All right, we've reached the summit. Chapter 4, 221, The Uncontested Titans. Coming in at number 2, with a staggering 87.8 million passengers, is Dallas-Fort Worth International. DFW isn't just large. Spanning 27 square miles, it is literally a self-sustaining city, also larger than the island of Manhattan. The whole name of the game at DFW is efficiency. It serves as the primary fortress hub for American Airlines, effortlessly connecting the U.S. to Europe, Asia, South America, and Oceania. Utilizing 5 terminals and 7 runways, it relies heavily on its Skylink train system. Get this, that train can get a passenger between any 2 gates in under 20 minutes on average. It's also an environmental leader, remarkably achieving carbon-neutral operations for airport-controlled emissions. And they're not slowing down. They're already planning a 6th terminal to handle the booming growth of North Texas. Now, to truly understand number 1, just look at this gap in volume. Denver and DFW are massive, hovering right there in the 80 million range. But number 1, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International, handles 108.1 million passengers. That gap alone is larger than the total traffic of many major cities. So how on earth does Atlanta pull this off? Well, geography is its secret weapon. Roughly 80% of the United States population is within a 2-hour flight of Atlanta. This makes it the absolutely perfect, ideal national connection point and the logical home for Delta Airlines' largest hub. It supports one of the most extensive route networks in all of global aviation. I mean, the numbers here are just wild. Atlanta manages over 2,000 arrivals and departures every single day, keeping traffic in near constant motion. Think about that for a second. Millions of travelers transfer quickly across this massive airfield every week, using a critical automated underground train system. And overseen by a towering 398-foot control tower, Atlanta connects passengers nonstop to 150 domestic and over 70 international destinations. It really boils down to this quote from the source material. Atlanta, and by extension, the entire mega airport concept we've explored today, functions as a machine built entirely for scale. It's an incredible testament to logistics, engineering, and just the sheer human drive to connect with one another. Which kind of leaves us wondering, right? As we look at the physical limits of land, the continuous surge of global air travel, and the rapid expansion of massive cities like Dallas and Denver, we have to ask, will changing demographics and new technologies ever shift the map? Can any airport ever truly dethrone Atlanta? It's a fascinating question about the future of our infrastructure to keep in mind the next time you're looking out an airplane window during a layover. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.